Dear beautiful souls out there, welcome to the Twin Flame Awakening podcast. Today is an episode number 4, which is about, was your twin flame runner the first one who started the contact with you, and with a twist that your twin flame was not your type at all, and that confused you to the maximum level. I think after posting on TikTok this question about was your twin flame runner not your type at all, I did receive so many messages where people were saying not at all their type, which they would be normally physically or mentally attracted to. And then after the first contact, they were blown away what just happened to them and why they can't stop obsessing about this person. So in today's episode, we are going to talk about why is that? Why do you meet your twin flame? What happens? All the stories from my followers who have shared the story with me, and also my own story with it, that it would become a full circle where we understand that there is a pattern. And if you are wondering if you have met your twin flame and why is that, then maybe this podcast episode is helpful for you. I would also like to say that those who would like to share their story with me, you can always send me a message on TikTok or on my email, twinflameawakeningjourney@gmail.com. I'll be trying to make episodes where we discuss about different ways of meeting, what happens, why happens, what is there to heal, and what is there to look into. Because remember, everyone's twin flame connection is unique. It's not exactly the same like yours, mine, or someone else. But there is a pattern that you have to go through. And things that your twin flame runner is reflecting on you are most probably the things that you have to work on. Also, I would like to say a huge thank you for those who have liked, subscribed, and sent me messages or commented. It has helped me enormously. I am beyond happy, and that's why I'm so excited to make these videos and podcasts, to talk with you, to share with you, to help you. So just would like to remind you that if you have a moment and you remember, please hit this little like or a subscribe on YouTube or here on Spotify whenever you're listening to it and you find it useful. So now let's dive into the fact that when you first meet your twin flame runner, the one who runs away after from you, why he or she is not your type. I also clarify before because I was supposed to do that before. Twin flame runner, or divine masculine in another term, does not mean it's a man. It means the energy. We both have female and masculine energy inside of us. So normally the chaser is the twin flame. Chaser is the divine feminine, and is the one who actually starts to awaken before the divine masculine. Divine feminine is more intuitive and in some reasons more caring, loving, and has all of that energy that tends to be awakened before. So if you are, for example, a man who is chasing for a woman, that means you have a divine feminine energy and your runner is a divine masculine, even though she is a woman. So don't mix up the energies. There is always divine feminine and divine masculine. It's the energy, it's not the physical being. So now let's dive into the fact that when you first meet your twin flame and what actually happens. So, and also twin flames are the yin and yang, so like a divine masculine and divine feminine. And it's actually meeting your twin flame is a very rare and powerful experience. So I know those of you who are going through that separation pain at the moment, it's not fun and it's very painful. And I'd like to bring here that you are about to awaken. You are in a rebirth. And rebirth, I like to actually say it's like the real way of giving birth to a human being. You go through a very long process. So the same when a person gets pregnant and something like this. There are ups and downs. Some people feel better, some people will worse. So it's always very individual. And then the moment you give birth is the most painful part. It's the time where you come to a light. And now with spiritual awakening, it's the same. When you have these last hardest moments where you cry, where you feel that you can't anymore, is actually the time where you're going to be awakened and seen by the light. And then you understand your full purpose. So pain is part of that process. Sadness is part of that process. So I am here to guide you. I am like your nurse here if we compare this with giving birth, who helps you, but you have to go through that process on your own. And that is very important because you're coming closer to the light, love, and kindness. So now let's dive into when you first meet your twin flame and why you are not the one who is interested of them. So I got very curious because all of that process, when I first met my twin flame, which I told on my previous episodes as well, I had to take a new job where I was temporary. It was not something I was supposed to do for a long term. And never done this before. It was very new in my life. And all of a sudden I met my twin flame. We did have a first connection where he said, hey. And I said, hey. And we just had a fist bump together. And he left and I left. I think it was just matter of minutes. Later on, he found me on WhatsApp because we were under the same job contract. And he reached out to me. I was not interested at all whatsoever. Why? He was younger than me. About 5 years younger. He is, by his culture, Muslim, which I don't have anything against it. It's not that I have anything against any religion, but I never, ever in my head were thinking to have something with a religion with a person who is from that religion. And again, nothing that is a bad religion. It's just it was not something I'm common with, I know it, or I have a type. Plus, he was not my type at all, not physically, nothing he was not a bad-looking guy, but just not my type, what I would physically go, because I know my type, and that's why, for me, it was very strange when he started texting me, and in about 20 minutes later or 30 minutes later, I feel like my body is on fire and can't stop texting and always waiting for a text message from him. And I was smiling, I was happy, I was feeling super, super, super happy. And now, if I look back to it, I can totally understand the reason of that. Because what you're going to learn in a twin flame awakening process is that your mind, your body, and your soul are not the same thing. They're connected. But your mind tries to control a lot. We were talking about it, that your twin flame was not your type at all, but all of a sudden you had this very strong sense that you want to be with this person. This person made you to feel some ways that you never felt before, even though it was not your usual type or a person you would go for. So why is that? I would say it's because spiritual awakening brings you out this sixth sense, your soul sense. And it starts with the fact that your mind tries to trick you every time. Your mind tries to convince you that you are not right. Your mind tries to say that you need a proof in order this is to be the reality. But that's not the truth. The truth is actually inside of you, inside of your soul. And your soul is constantly speaking to you. Your soul knows what you have to do. Your soul knows who you are and is talking to you all the time. I know that my soul was talking to me, and I could even vision my soul sitting in a corner and not being happy because I'm not listening and I'm not following and I'm not letting my soul to be the truth. Today, when I talk about this whole experience and I meet other people in this, I realize my soul is like a flower. It's blooming, it's happy because I can help others, and I also bring love and light to the others who are going through this very painful process. So it's not my mind, because even my mind tries to convince me sometimes that this is not right, this is wrong, because your mind has two sides, right and wrong. But in the soul world, there is no right and wrong. It's just oneness. You understand that in order to have, for example, if I bring it a typical example, that in order to grow, you need a rain. But do we like rain all the time? No. But sometimes we need a rain, or we need a storm, or we need something to go away, that something new could come up. So these kind of things in this twin flame connections are very, very profound, that you have to let go of your mind. And I know when you are in the separation process, you're constantly thinking with your mind. Your mind tries to tell you, no, this is not a twin flame connection. You have all this kind of weird, you have like a weird fight with your mind and your soul, where your soul tries to tell you something and your mind is like, this is not true, this is not the reality, this is not how I'm feeling. And then your mind creates kind of reality that the twin flame, this person you met, is the source of happiness, source of love, source of everything, while actually it's you. It's yourself. You have to eliminate a person, like a physical person. You have to become one within. So now I'm going to read some of the messages I did get, and it's very, very interesting. So one of a follower was saying, I kept looking at him and thinking, he's not my type, but why am I so obsessed? I was baffled. And then another person, of course, realized, same with me. Then there is another follower who says, I was into blondes and blue-eyed guys, predictable. He was the opposite, dark hair, dark eyes, and mysterious kind of guy. That is scary for me. Coming back to the mystery, my twin flame was very mysterious as well. I knew nothing about him. Like, when we met, I had no idea. Like, I was talking to a stranger. It could have been whatever. And the moment we met, we had this very intense feeling of home, feeling that I knew this person. I was laughing like you're the happiest person on earth. The way we couldn't communicate properly because both of our languages were different. I'm speaking English, he is speaking French, all of these things. But we had so much in common, and so it was so divine that you didn't need words. You literally didn't need words. And that's why it was even more confusing when he eventually ran, that why am I obsessed with a person who I just had a very minimum contact with? We meet people every day. We meet people at work. We meet people in the cafeterias, in the places, and we never become obsessed with them. So that's definitely something you have to look into this. Then another, if I read here some comments, there was another person said, he wasn't my type, but I felt a strange connection between us two by the moment we first met. And here is something to know if it's your twin flame or somebody else. You feel this from the very first moment you meet. You just feel something you have never felt before. And people can call us crazy or say this doesn't exist, this is, this is karmic or anything. No, these are completely different stories. Karmic, soulmates, narcissistic, bad people are nothing to do with a twin flame. And I like to pressure here again that twin flame connection, the person never hurts you with words or with physical. They run, yes, and that's going to cause you the pain, but you are the one who is causing the pain for yourself. Your twin flame will not tell you bad things or put you down or manipulate with you. This is not a twin flame. You have to understand this. Also, eyes are playing a big part of this twin flame connection. I saw on my comments as well, where a lot of them were saying that he always said that he liked my eyes and I smile a lot. And same was with me. My twin flame used to tell me, like, you have incredible eyes, and like you have a beautiful person eyes and everything, all kinds of things. And while it can sound again for some people like the way you would approach a woman or make some contact, it was very, very different way of said. So it's not like, oh, you have a beautiful eyes, you are a beautiful person. Not like that. It came really from the deep soul. You could feel that when the person said that. And then here is another one, as Steve says, I was attracted to her eyes. We meet, the feeling was strong energy. Then I kissed her. Boom. Changed my world. Instant flame. My soul cries now. Now is all I feel, all my heart wants, and much more than I ever thought possible to love someone. Still is wow. And so yes, it's so here is another very beautiful way of said. We talked and immediately recognized each other. Portals opened and we fell into the abyss. Embraced. Then one day she gave me the slip and pulled away. And yes, that's another very important word here is the portals. There are going to be portals opening, which is very strange because yes, twin flame connection is to trigger your spiritual awakening. I can't pressure this enough. It's not romantic loving relationship, which can also be, but the reason you met your twin flame is to become one with your soul and trigger your spiritual awakening. And portals are going to open. I know many of you might have now, when you are in a separation, or prior to that even, you're having a very vivid dreams, like very strange, vivid dreams, like you feel like you are on this stream. Dreams are a very powerful part of your spiritual awakening, and I would recommend to write them down if any of you are getting a moment. It will help you in the process. So why now you obviously, here is another, Annette says that yes he did, and not my type, but wow, what a mind-blowing journey. What an unconditional divine love. It's definitely a divine love. It's a love that no other, but it's a love that eventually has to become inside of you, that your divine feminine and your divine masculine is balanced. And then I promise you, I literally promise you, you become a love, the biggest love ever. Then there is another one who said to hear that that's exactly how it was for me. My twin is bald, and I never had a twin things for guys with bald heads. But here we are, summer 2021. And then Carla said very beautifully, I made a list of things would not like of men, and he has all of them. And suddenly I figured out that he's exactly my version, hidden version. And that's very true as well. Your twin flame is your mirror. And everything you do not like about yourself, or you have a thing with your soul, is mirrored on your soul, on your twin flame. So the more you look into what you don't like, or what is not your type, or what is not your thing, the more clarity you get about yourself, who you actually are. So observe your twin flame when you had a connection. What were the things you didn't like about each other, or like about, how do I say it better, in a better way? The things that twin flame triggered in you, especially when they ran away. Then another one said here, I don't even want to think about him. He's not my type, but my soul knew he was home. Home is definitely a very big word. You know that you have arrived home, and it comes to your head like, I have arrived home. Like you feel that. You feel really deeply inside of you. Then Fiona said, wasn't looking for him, came out of nowhere, made me a better version of myself. Also, like everyone else here says, younger than me. So the age is also often a big thing, that there is quite a big age difference. It's very rare when you are the same age, but again, you have to understand that in the universe, time and space doesn't exist. It's just something we have created. So time can be easily manipulated, and so is space. So it's not something we can rely on 100%. Also, twin flame connection is not something you are looking for. And I didn't even know about that concept. Or like I said in my first episode, I've heard of it before. Yes, I've heard some people said, I met my twin flame. And since it was not relevant to me, I didn't pay attention until it happened to me. And to believe me or not, your soul starts to tell you, twin flame connection, twin flame connection. And you start meeting people who have met twin flames or had twin flames, that they will guide you on that process. I have a very strange story to tell. A client of mine contacted me over my website. She was living in the United States. I was living in Europe. And she said she's coming to Europe and she would like to have a photo shoot. We managed to do the photo shoot. Right on that day where we were supposed to have a photo shoot, I was so sick in the morning. I was like, I'm going to cancel it. I'm unable to take 2 hours photos. I'm very, very tired. My whole body was in such a pain. I was vomiting. I did not feel good. And I told her, I'm afraid I have to cancel. And she persisted, said, maybe you feel better in the afternoon. Maybe we try in the afternoon because I will not be here. And since I'm very bad at saying no or doing things, I thought, okay, I have to go. What can I do? So we met her up. We didn't talk a lot during the photo session. Normally I do talk with people, but just to make them comfortable, but nothing really spiritual. I mean, I always try to avoid this conversation with the people I don't know, because a lot of people think you are crazy in your head and what are you talking about. So I pretty much prefer to keep it for myself. After the 2 hours of photo session, we were driving back, and I was just talking something very randomly, and somehow it popped from my mouth about twin flames. And she looked at me and she told her full story of twin flame. Like I said, I had never met this woman before. We had nothing in common. She told me the whole story and she gave me a book. She said, I wrote the book. And her twin flame was a woman. And she was married, had kids and everything. And she said, it's your spiritual awakening. Welcome on board. And she gave me the book. Book of manifestation. Book about how the God speaks to you. And again, back then I was in a separation, so it was hard to accept that information. And I know many of you who are listening, for you it's also hard to accept the information that it might not be the love relationship eventually, but it will be a love relationship with yourself and with your soul and with your mission and with a divine living. And that's something I promise you once you look back to that process, you remember my words and said, she said that. She knew what she's talking about. Yes, you can have a love relationship with your twin flame. You can. It's never out of the table. There are people, I know people, and I've met so many, but they all say that they have a divine love with themselves. So I just would like to remind you that I'm here to guide you to become your highest self. And then here's another person who says, yes, he's totally not my type. He's way too much younger than me. We are still off and on, and it's really tiring. Yeah, that process is very tiring. That's why I previously brought in the example of giving birth. You know, women can of course relate to it, men not so much, but if any of you have been next to someone who gives birth as a man, you know what the woman goes through, what is the pain and what is the process. At least you have seen it, and it's equivalent for this rebirth, what you're having through this twin flame connection. It is extremely tiring. The moment you think, oh, I'm feeling much better, things are, and then boom, the twin flame comes back. You have everything triggered back and you start all over again. And I was explaining to my client another day also about when they were asking how long it's going to take, how long it's going to happen. And again, it's very individual. Same, bringing in the example of giving birth. Some women give birth 2-3 hours or 40 minutes, done. Some gave days, 30 hours, 36 hours. Now, of course, they already induce you when you go to 36 hours, or they do a C-section and all of that. But when I was born back then, they didn't do stuff like this. And my mother told me that there were women giving birth 3-4 days. You know, being on that pain, how exhausting is that? So now think of this. Everyone's soul journey and awakening is different. So you have to understand that the pain is part of that process. Let that pain go from you. Cry like crazy. Meditate. I would say that one of the most powerful tools is breath work. If you have a breath work session in your town, book a spot. It's going to be the best money you have ever spent. Honestly, I cannot recommend anything else better. So here's another one who says also, he first reached out and then now he's running. Not my type and age gap. So another one says, I didn't want anything long term, but now I want it all. Yeah, he's not my type and chased me, but now he's running. Julie said, yeah, my story exactly the same. We polar opposite, different backgrounds, different ends of the country. Liz Mary says, oh my God, this is my story. He was not my type. We started talking. It felt so natural. Everything was flowing. It felt like I had known him before we found. And that's another very important thing if you think of if it's your twin flame. You talk stuff out of your mouth or you text or whatever way you're communicating that you would never actually say to even your closest friends. I was saying things for a person I met like 2 weeks ago, my twin flame, that I never told to anyone else. Like, for real, it was not me who was talking, it was my soul. Then Mary says here, 100%, not my type, but I have a deepest love more than anyone I have ever met. So Cynthia says, mine confuses the hell out of me. Same start. And no, he's not my normal type. I'm madly in love and obsessed 2 years later. He comes and goes. And so many of saying, same. Jessica said, he was someone I would never have ever pursued. I didn't even see him that way. But yes, he pursued me, and We definitely have a unique connections. A cool aunt. Yes, nothing I would be interested in on it. I ignored him when we first met, but then he hunted me and I felt like this drawn to him, like I knew him somehow. I talk about this on my first episode exactly. Mine was not my type. We didn't speak the same language. I was not interested because I'm married, I have kids, I was happy on my own. There was no such a thing. And he was the one who initiated contact. He was the one who was talking. He was the one who tried to communicate. And I even said, I think after like a second or third message, I said, yes, I'm married, I have kids. So I thought, he's going to go. And then from there, the flame was burning, 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 burning until I could not stop anymore. And then Spada May says, I'm married. I married mine before we separated and reconnected to awaken to this. Even unaware, he was not the type of person I went for. But looking back over my entire life, I had been always drawn to these little things about him. Like hair color yet, I never dated any redheads. Equally spiritual as well. I would say another profound thing is that if you have a twin flame connection, you need to have some kind of spiritual ground. It cannot happen with a person who does not believe in any spirituality. I have never met any, or maybe I had another idea in my head that maybe those people who had met their twin flame or had a spiritual awakening but tried to avoid it because it was not part of the society yet, that they turned into drugs and alcohol. Again, this is not something that I can talk 100%, but it's just something that came into my head because they didn't want to deal with this pain, with this extreme pain that comes with it. So, and I know I had also clients and people I'm talking to that they start drinking. Some people take drugs. I just want to say it is painful, but drugs, alcohol, substances are not a way of dealing with this divine connection. And now, okay, we have been talking a lot about this, that it comes, not your type and all of that. So now let's ask a question. Why then it happens this way? So I did some research and I kind of came to an understanding that the universe wants you to become awakened. And in order to become awakened, the twin flame runner, divine masculine, makes the action, because divine masculine energy is the action-based energy. It's the one who is bold, who's going out there, who is doing things. And so which means that they activated this awakening in you. And for you, in order to grow, because remember, you don't grow when everything is bubbly. You grow through the pain, you go through the lessons, you go through all of it, what you need to let go. They run. And universe makes that happen, that they have to go. They have to run away from you and they have to stop talking to you. So it fears them with this divine energy, with this divine love, with this extreme energy. Because when I asked my twin flame, why did you run? He said, I could not handle this energy. It was too much. I didn't sleep. I was so confused. I had an anxiety. I felt this is all wrong. This is not right because you are married. And how can I be attracted to someone who is so... Right, they're afraid. So the universe makes it happen to help you to become your higher self. Yeah, I know I'm talking about it very positively, like, oh yeah, that's like a walk in a park. I know it's not a walk in a park. I remember my body pains. I remember all of that. It was not pleasant, and that's why I think it's important to have an information out there that spiritual awakening is not a walk in a park. And a lot of people need guidance during that process, not to turn towards alcohol, substances, all these kind of things. So I think we're gonna cut off from here today, because it's been a long story about twin flame runner who we want back so badly. But if you liked today's episode and you found it useful, please, of course, take a moment to leave this little like or subscribe to the channel. Anything you can do just to motivate me to talk more about the subject and help you. Also, if you want to share your stories, I'm going to make a weekly episode all about talking of individual stories and giving a guidance through this. So the more detail you can go in, how you met, when you met, what happened to you, what are the feelings inside of you, the better feedback I can give, and hopefully that helps to release a certain part of the pain. So thank you so much for listening to Twin Flame Awakening Journey podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and like I said previously, every little like, every little comment, every little story means the world to me. I really hope to see you back here. And if you have a time to leave a comment, if you have a time to hit this like button, thank you so much. And I'll see you very soon.
But if you did, I'd still love you and need